tell me a little bit more about the problems you're currently working through with your council tax bill?
It's my bill. They've sent it out to me and I can't afford to pay for how much they say I owe this year. I'm on a 0 hours contract and my wages barely cover my day-to-day costs. Never mind having to pay all this money each month to the council. How am I meant to afford all of this?
Council tax instalments can be a huge burden, so it's completely natural to feel overwhelmed. Have you considered any council tax support, discounts or exemptions that you might be entitled to that might be able to reduce your bill considerably?
Discounts, exemptions and council tax support? I'm not too sure what those are. Can you tell me a little bit more, please?
Discounts and exemptions and council tax support are hugely important when it comes to council tax, as you may be paying more than you actually need to, and many people do not realise this. Applying for council tax support, discounts or exemptions can reduce your monthly council tax bill, making it easier to manage your finances. Council tax support is a benefit that could reduce the amount of council tax you have to pay each year. This is based on your income and circumstances. A council tax reduction will lower the amount of council tax you have to pay each year. A council tax exemption will mean that you pay no council tax for your property.
Here we have a common conversation between an advisor and a client, which may occur at places like Citizens Advice, Coventry Independent Advice Service, or Coventry Law Centre. Emily here is a clear example of how council tax support can hugely assist her.
So Emily, tell me what's going on with your council tax.
I currently have a part-time job and have just recently moved on to Universal Credit. The Universal Credit payments barely cover my daily living costs and I have to pay monthly payment to the council for council tax. I don't even know where I'm going to get that money from.
Have you considered applying for council tax support? It might really help, and because you're on a low income and benefits, you might qualify for it.
How would I know if I was eligible though? Is it not already included in my Universal Credit payments?
It's based on your income and your circumstances. Savings of more than £6,000 may have an effect on how much you can get. The home you live in is not considered when looking at your eligibility. You can always check Coventry City Council's online calculator to see if your bill can be reduced. Unfortunately, it's not already included in your universal credit payments, so it's very important to apply for it separately. In some cases, it can be backdated up to 6 months.
Will I receive money to help pay the council tax each month?
Council tax support doesn't work the same as other benefits. Rather than receiving payment into your bank, your council tax bill will be reduced. For example, if your bill is £100 for the month and you receive a 50% reduction, your bill would be £50 for the month.
That sounds great. How do I apply to get that?
The application process is very simple. To start the calculation, you can go online or contact the local council to start the process. Remember though, if you start to receive council tax support, you must keep your council up to date on your current circumstances. For example, if you start a new job or your benefits change, the council needs to know, as they base their calculation on your income and your current circumstances.
To summarise, there are a few things to remember if you think council tax support may apply to you. If you are receiving benefits or are on low income, you may qualify for council tax support. Council tax support is not included in universal credit. You need to apply separately. You can apply online or contact Coventry City Council. Don't forget to keep the council up to date on your circumstances when receiving council tax support to ensure your reduction is based on accurate calculations. There are a few ways in which you can have your council tax bill discounted. These are single person occupier discount and disabled persons relief. Let's move on to a potential discount, which is single person occupier discount. Here we have Hayley discussing her situation with our advisor.
As I was saying, I live alone and it's been such a burden having to pay this money every single month. Is there anything I can do?
As you're living alone, you're entitled to what's known as a single occupier discount. Council tax based on the presumption that 2 adults live in the house. Because you live on your own, you're entitled to a 25% reduction in your bill.
How will I know if the council has given me that discount? Do I need to apply for it, or has the council automatically taken it off? What do I do?
You need to contact the council to explain your situation. They'll send you a new bill with the discount added. You can always check whether or not you've had the discount or exemption applied by checking the how we worked out what you need to pay box on your bill. Any discount or exemption should show up here. To apply for a single person occupier discount, simply access the Coventry City Council's online form.
Will I need to show any proof to the council that I live alone? And if I do, how do I do this?
When applying, the council will need to know basic information like your name, address and contact details, your council tax reference number and the date you moved into the property, as well as when you want the discount to start. There's no specific evidence that you need to provide, but you do need to declare that the information you provide on the application is true. Also, much like receiving any type of benefit, if your circumstances do change, you need to notify the council of this. For example, if somebody moves into the property with you. Although it doesn't apply to Hayley's situation, it can be that there is more than one adult living in the property, but they could be disregarded for the purpose of council tax. This simply means that as a result of their situation or work status, they're not responsible for paying council tax. Therefore, a reduction through single person occupiers discount could still apply. People who may be disregarded include carers and care workers, students, including those on apprenticeships in full-time college or university, or even members of religious communities.
As a quick recap, you could be entitled to single person occupiers discount if you live alone in a property, or you live with a person who is disregarded for the purpose of council tax. You need to tell the council, as they will not assume that you qualify for single person occupiers discount. You need to keep the council informed of any changes in your circumstances.
The next discount to discuss is termed the Disabled People Relief option. It can be a little tricky to understand. This is not a means tested benefit, so that means it's available regardless of your income or size of your property. Rather, this is for if you or someone you live with has a disability, and is designed to help those with a life-impacting disability who require a specific room or equipment at home.
There are two requirements which both need to be met in order for the bill to be reduced. Firstly, you or the person you live with must have a substantial or permanent disability. You can show this if you're registered as disabled with the council, but even if you're not, you can still claim the discount. Examples of substantial or permanent disabilities may be if you're blind or use a wheelchair. Secondly, the property that the disabled person lives in has to have at least one specific adaptation to help manage a disability at home. The property needs to have either an extra kitchen or bathroom, or another room which the disabled person uses daily, or enough indoor space for the disabled person's wheelchair.
Don't forget, you only need your home to have one of these changes to it to meet this second criteria. If you think you may meet these two requirements, you should contact the council to apply for disabled persons relief, as they will not automatically assume you are eligible for it.
The kind of evidence the council may ask to see is proof of your disability, like a letter from your GP. They may also wish to inspect the property to confirm the extra space or adaptations made to accommodate your disability. If the council decides you should receive this discount, let me show you how your bill will be reduced. There are 8 valuation bands ranging from A as the lowest and H as the highest, based on the price of your property. These bands are used to calculate your council tax liability. Your council tax liability increases the higher you progress up the bands.
Therefore, if you were entitled to disabled persons relief and your property was band D, it will be moved to band C. Moreover, if your property is already in band A, your council tax will still be reduced by calculating and charging for 1/9 of the council tax for band D properties. Please contact the council if you feel this is applicable to you, as it may drastically reduce your council tax bill. An example of this is that moving from band C to band B in 2019 would reduce your annual bill by approximately £200. This takes us on to entitlements for council tax exemptions. As a reminder, a council tax exemption means that you do not need to pay any council tax. Council tax exemptions apply broadly to two main categories. These are those disregarded for the purpose of council tax, as discussed above, and those classified with a severe mental impairment. We've already discussed those who may count as a disregarded person. However, if in a property all the people who live there are disregarded for the purpose of council tax, then the whole property will be exempt from paying council tax and no one will have to pay. If you're classed as severely mentally impaired, you can also be entitled to a council tax exemption. This means you're suffering from a serious or permanent mental health condition that has a severe impact on your daily life, and you could then apply for this assistance. Examples of the types of health conditions that could qualify for this are learning difficulties, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and Parkinson's. This is not a means-tested benefit, so it's available regardless of your income and the size of your property. There are 3 steps for applying for this exemption. Firstly, you'll need a signed document from your GP stating you are severely mentally impaired. Secondly, you need to be entitled to one of the following benefits, although you don't need to currently be receiving any of them. There are many benefits which could apply here, as you can see. Finally, the impairment must appear to be permanent. You can also apply online for this exemption or contact the council. In summary, council tax reductions and exemptions are hugely helpful in managing a council tax bill. And if you think you may be eligible for either method of support, then it's important to contact the council and make them aware of this. If in any doubt though, there are always places where you can receive more help in clarifying whether you would be eligible for a council tax reduction or exemption. These include Coventry Independent Advice Service, Coventry Citizens Advice, Coventry Law Centre, and many more. These organisations and their contact details will be available for your reference below in the video description.